Okay, to move on to part 3. So part 3, we're going to look at why it's virtually impossible to come out of your childhood with a good sense of self-esteem. Now, good sense of self-esteem, robust. We can have a reasonable, I think one of the challenges is the bar is actually set quite low. We actually have often most of us have a moderate sense of self-esteem that's regarded as being good. But when it really comes down to push, comes down to shove, and it really gets down, for us to really rise up to be the highest version of ourselves, to really tackle the things that we're capable of doing, that's when it just starts to undermine a little bit. So I'm talking about a sense of self-esteem, sense of self-worth, sense of self-ability that would allow you to do anything that the world is dreaming for you, not to survive in a good enough way. You get that difference? Okay, so this is why I think it's virtually impossible and what we can do about it. It comes down to the five energies. Now in the five energies they have a spiritual side to it as well. And each energy is related to a certain part of our spirit. The water energy is related to our willpower, the ability to dig deep, to go to the foundation, to create that drip, drip, drip effect that actually created the Grand Canyon. It's that willpower, it's that determination. And our willpower will respond to a statement. Come on, you can do this. Yes, I can. Come on, good. It responds to a statement. It's a good listener. Very short-lived, but a good listener. Our imagination is related to that wood energy, that ability to drift outside and come up with these magical ideas that no one had ever thought of. A dog hat with candy. How good would that? I could see that selling. I could see me being a millionaire by the end of the week. So it's that imagination, that creativity. And the imagination is there to answer the questions. And that's what they do. The imagination hears questions, hears every single question that you ask. Then the fire energy is our conscious mind, our sense of who we are, the emotions we feel. So people with a lot of fire energy will have highly sensitive emotions. But we all have this conscious mind that feels things and knows who we are and where we are. And that will respond to questions and statements and be conscious of who you are. And that's what we're always trying to do, have a peaceful, conscious mind. The earth energy is our intellect, our ability to understand things, to answer questions, to hear statements, and to intellectualize stuff. And then the bit that's hidden. Remember, metal is hidden, it's precious deep within the ground. And that's our non-conscious mind, our unconscious, our subconscious, all the stuff that's sitting below the surface, the stuff that we can't see, the stuff that appears to be missing, but is absolutely vitally important for who we are. And your non-conscious mind, like the imagination, which is why they're both in green, they answer questions. The unconscious mind responds to questions. It doesn't hear statements. It fundamentally responds to questions. So your imagination, your unconscious mind are hearing questions and answering them. And your willpower, conscious mind and intellect support that process. So your non-conscious mind, imagination, they don't hear statements, they only hear questions. And I won't go into this, but there's some really interesting Chinese characters. When you look at the Chinese characters, they're describing the Chinese characters, the fact that the unconscious mind, the imagination, are all about questions, not about statements. What does that fundamentally mean? Well, it means your unconscious mind, the seat of your self-esteem, because your unconscious mind, that's where 90% of who we are and our actions and stuff come from, our unconscious. The seat of your self-esteem and self-worth has selective hearing. It will only ever hear a question. And your unconscious mind, your imagination, has to answer any question that they're given. It's their job. They just answer questions. Yeah. Yeah. They'll have to answer the question.
No, they only hear.
They only hear, yeah. our intellectual mind, where we say a statement like, this is black and this is white, this is so and so and this is that. It's a very intellectual process. And our conscious mind is hearing that intellectual process and whatever. But our unconscious mind doesn't operate within that field. And our imagination doesn't operate in that field. They operate in the field of questions and pictures and dreams and stuff. So all the stuff from kind of Jung and Freud was all this idea of the unconscious mind is imagery and questions. And so lots of cultures come up with this same thing. So it's the logical discussions and statements are heard in that intellect and consciously, and your willpower. So it's operating at that level. So we've got a selective hearing with the unconscious. But they will answer a question. But they will answer any question that they're given. They will have to do it. Particularly if you ask it with intention, they will answer that question. And they won't see or consider anything else. So if I was to ask the question, oh God, why am I so useless? Why am I so stupid? My unconscious mind says, okay, let me work that out for you. Okay, we've got some stored facts in the past. You are useless and you are terrible because, and it will just come out of it. It won't think, oh, that's not very good for you. That's not going to help you when you're just about to go on a stage. It won't think that. It'll just say, okay, I'll tell you why you're useless. It'll just give you the answer. It will not consider anything else. It doesn't care how it makes you feel. Oh, God. And it won't answer it straight away. So if you say, God, why am I so useless? Why am I so stupid? Why am I so stupid? Off goes the imagination, starts making up stuff. Off goes the unconscious mind, comes out with all that information. And over the next space of the next 15, 20 minutes, it just starts giving you all the things as to why you're so stupid. It's bringing out stuff from your childhood and imagery, points stuff out to you. And you go, God, I'm struggling today. God, what's wrong with me? What's wrong? Why do I feel so bad today? He goes, well, I can tell you. You've got this as well. You feel bad because, oh, do you think I've got food poisoning? you could have, but you've got some evidence. And then off goes your imagination and just really starts making up all sorts of stuff. It just answers the question that it's given. That's what it does. It doesn't care whether it makes you feel good or makes you feel bad. If I was to say, why am I goddamn wonderful? What might happen is a bit of me might think, well, that's a bit of an arse. Isn't it? That's a bit of a, in front of all these people to say, why am I so wonderful? But my unconscious mind and my imagination will say, okay, let me just find those, you're so wonderful because it just gives me that stuff. You can have a clash. You could, if I said, why am I the most perfect human being the world has ever created? There might be a bit of a intellectual but actually, my unconscious mind and imagination would start to work out why I am the most the world has ever created. Because I am, we all are. It just came to me there. We all are, aren't we? We are the most magical, brilliant creatures the world has ever created. Thank you. But it wouldn't seem, but my imagination, so I can logically feel uncomfortable with, my imagination works away with it. And if you keep asking the same question, then your imagination will make up all sorts of things. If I keep asking, why am I so stupid? Why am I so stupid? Then it just really works on lots of reasons why I am. And tells me, or gives me a feeling or a sense that might happen 20 or 30 minutes later. So we're running these questions. Unconsciously, we're just asking questions all the time. Which, have any of those questions made me feel good about myself? No. But I'll ask them as a way to try and find the answer to the question of what's wrong with me. So why is it virtually impossible to come out of your childhood with a good sense of self-esteem? And that's because most good things are said to you in the form of statements. It's not absolute, but most good things are said to you in the form of statements. I love you. You're beautiful. You're really handsome. That's a great shirt. or as kids say, oh, that's a lovely picture. Well done. You know, Mum and Daddy are really proud of you. That's a fantastic thing. And then what they say is everything bad is said in the form of questions. Why can't you sit still? What's wrong with you? Why couldn't you be more like your brother? Why are you wriggling so much? They have emotion, they have strength to them. They say, oh, you're beautiful. I love you. Sit still. Yeah, that upsets me. Why don't you sit still? Because I can't. Have you got ants in your pants? So everything, right at the beginning, is said very powerfully in the form of questions, and it goes into your unconscious mind, and it hears it, and it answers those questions. And why can't you be more like your brother? Oh, because I'm useless, I'm too, or whatever it is. Or if they say it in a form of a statement, we're really cross with you, I want you to go to your bedroom, and I want you to think exactly about what you've done. That's how my father. I want you to think about what you've done and go and think about it. Good. Oh, why don't Mummy and Daddy love me? Oh, I'll tell you why they don't. We had this last week. It's because you've got ants in your pants, you're a wriggle bottom, and you're just not like your brother. Yeah, that's why they don't like me. Feeling good about myself. See, people recognise that they've had those things. I was in Asda, and I was in the clothing department, and a little girl came out, probably about 8 years old, wearing a party dress. She was obviously in a party dress, and she came out and stood there like that. And the mother said, oh, that's a lovely dress. She said, what's wrong with you? The girl goes, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with the dress? Well, I don't know. Well, do you look nice in the dress? Well, no, I think I look... Well, why do you think you look so... What's wrong with you? Why do you think you look so bad in the dress? Why are you so ugly? Why do you think you look so ugly? And the child just came out a bit sheepish because there was old Muppet there by the changing rooms. Obviously, not good. I wouldn't break the cord to it. Obviously not like that. But I was there, and she obviously came out quite embarrassed, coming out standing in a party dress. And her mother immediately said, what's wrong with you? In a voice that said, what's wrong with you? Well, I don't feel... You don't like the dress? Do you think you look horrible in it? Yeah. And it's not a closed... It's not an open question. And all of a sudden, the child was really, really struggling with this sense of, well, why do you think you look ugly? The imagination, unconscious mind is going to ask, not going to turn that round and say, well, actually, I don't think I look ugly. I think I look goddamn gorgeous in this dress. They're not going to say that. The kid is just going to say why they think they look ugly. Well, and they did. And they said, well, because I think I have a fat stomach and I've got this and I don't think it suits me and I like this. And they said, oh, well, you're just, as always, you're ruining the whole thing. Why do you do this every time? Every time we go shopping and you ruin it. Why do you do that? Come out. And that was it. Whereas she could have said, the child comes out and says, do you like the dress? No, I think I look ugly in it. Okay, well, why do you think I think you look lovely in that dress? Why do I think you look beautiful in that dress? Well, because you're my mummy. Yeah? Well, why else do I think you look beautiful in that dress? Well, because it's a pretty dress, yeah? And why else do I think you look beautiful in that dress? Well, because I am beautiful. We're all beautiful. It's a different entity. It's all just based on questions. So you worked out, the child comes out and says they look ugly in a dress, and the mother says, why do you think you look ugly? Bang. And then the conversation just goes down. Whereas you said, well, I look ugly in it. Well, why do I think you look beautiful in it? Why do you think that is? It's a different question. But that's a standard. I had that upbringing, people had, to varying degrees. And then, When our parents pass away or leave us alone or whatever they do, and stop having these conversations, they stop asking those questions of why do we do this or why do we, and we ask them instead, don't we? We shift over to, oh God, why can't I? Why have I just done this again? Why could I do this again? What's wrong? Or whatever it might be. Or why do I feel so bad? Or this whole thing of the question of why have I had this cancer? What's gone on? Why is it there? Why can't I understand? What's wrong with me that I can't understand? And it's a spiral downwards of those questions that we fundamentally ask. But there is, and we do it, and what happens is we ask these questions and we start to spiral downwards. And do you feel good about yourself at the end of it? Absolutely not. You've just spiraled down from a place of feeling okay about yourself down to a place of spiraling down. So one of the challenges is when life's good, we ask good questions. God, life's good at the moment. God, I'm feeling good. What am I doing at the moment that makes me feel so good? Well, I think I'm exercising pretty. Well, that works out well. But as soon as we start to go down, we go down with questions very, very quickly. And they just appear. The answers appear constantly. So there is a way to do it. Because we'll have all these sorts of negative questions. If only I had done that, why on earth did I do this? What's wrong with me? What happens if X or... That's it. Thank you very much.
What's missing?
What's missing? Correct. You end up with a whole set of I can'ts. But what we can have is you can just choose to ask a question consciously instead. A question that you can ask that would evoke a positive response that would make you feel better. So if you're feeling back, say I'm nervous about this event, I could go, oh God, why am I feeling so nervous about this? Oh God, I hope it's going to go all right and all stuff like that. Or I could just ask the question, why am I quite capable of doing this? Why is it okay if it isn't perfect? Why is it okay as it is? And it just lowers my anxiety because my unconscious mind has to answer that question. So I choose a question, why am I quite capable of doing this? What aspect of my past has led me to this moment that makes it all right for me to do this? Whatever it might be. So you just choose a question that you would have. Why, tell me why, or tell me exactly why, are really, really good questions. Tell me exactly why I can do this. And the information has to come from my unconscious mind, and my imagination will make up some very useful stuff. So they're good questions. Tell me why. Why? Tell me why. Tell me exactly why. Tell me why I'm capable of this. Tell me why I can do this. Tell me why I can get through this. Tell me why I can handle this. Tell me why this will be all right in the end. Tell me what the lesson in this. Whatever it might be, the question is designed to give you. So why can I do this? Tell me why I can do this. Why can I handle this? Tell me why I can handle this. Why am I good at this? Tell me why I'm good at this. Those questions will make you feel good about yourself in the same way those other questions will make you feel truly bad about yourself. And it doesn't matter how much you work on your self-esteem, how much you work on your confidence, how much you build yourself up. If you ask a question, what's wrong with me, and why am I struggling, why am I so stupid, and then your self-esteem is pointless, because it will be overturned by your unconscious mind and your imagination with all the stuff that it will make up. Why has my past equipped me for this moment? Why is it okay sometimes just to muddle through? That's a really good earth energy question. When we think, oh, I need to know how this is and how is it going to work. No, why is it okay sometimes just to muddle through? It's going to be all right. I've got about 70, 80, 90 of these questions. Would you like them on a sheet? Yeah? Tough. I'm a kindness ambassador, you know that. However, it has an expiry date by 8 o'clock in the evening. I'm now well past that. No, I will get that, won't we, Gina? Yeah. This one I love. Why is it my fundamental right to make mistakes? Who likes that question? Why is it my fundamental right to make mistakes? Why is the past and why is now now? That's a really nice question when you get stuck in, oh, I should have done this, Why is the past and why is now now? Let's just move on, shall we? It's a really good one for shifting it. If you can't think of a question, you can only think of a statement. You can say, why is it important to remember that? And then you put the statement in front of it. Why is it important to remember that we're all different? So when I'm having a bit of a thing with someone and we're like this, I just say, why is it important to remember that we're all different? My unconscious mind and my imagination just relax to the point that we're all different. It just creates flow. I might say, how can I help this situation? That again will invoke a change. So we get to consciously choose the questions we have. Do we have any questions on that? Useful?
Yeah.
We have an ability to choose the questions we consciously want to do. So I would encourage you, so what I'll do is I will get for you, I've got a free webinar I ran all about the pig year, and it's got the 3 things, and you've listened to, haven't you?
Yeah.
Good?
Very good, yeah.
I think very good is a good word.
How much do you know?
No, it is actually the best webinar I've ever run. It is, seriously, because it is a pivotal year for us to do things, and it tells you the 3 things you should do. So we'll get you a copy of that. We'll also get you a thing of all my favourite conscious questions, and I think we can also arrange for you to have, I did a whole webinar on conscious questions as well. Would that be useful?
Yeah.
So it's really, really important when you're in a particular stage that where we all need to step up to where we're meant to be, to do the things we're meant to do, however scary they may be and however unworthy or doubts or whatever it is. There's a place that we're all meant to be rising up to. And conscious questions are a great way to help you rise up to that place. It may be a question that you need to ask about kindness to yourself. Why is it a good idea to go to bed now and get some sleep? Why should I be kind to myself? Why is it a good idea to eat well? What's the best thing for my body at this moment in time? Why am I precious and need to take care of myself? So those questions about self-care, because as we move out into the world and we rise up, the whole thing we do at the Five Institute is it should be created from this base of self-kindness and self-love, that we can rise up to be ourselves through asking the questions that would serve us and help us and love us and make us feel good about ourselves. And the feeling good about ourselves is we're actually actualizing who we're meant to be in the world by rising up and using questions and understanding energies and